19th, 1986, and we're visiting with Tanta Ax and Mary Beth and Cobie, and I'm going to start the recording right now, and we just continue with your coffee.
Well, tell me about this cookbook then.
Yeah, and well, she didn't know either how that was going to go. But it seems everybody right away went along. Even Ben from Tamishawakia. And Ben from Panahanka. No,
Bill.
Bill. And they really are interested in it. So Ben from Tamishawakia said, well, you wanted 5 or 6, what was it? And, but it's, I got so much money in it, but I don't know it's enough. But it's in the mail, and if it isn't enough, you let me know.
So he's backing the cookbook financially?
Well, no, just sending in.
He ordered 5 or something, but
5 or 6 of them for his children, and he wanted to know that the check that was in the mail was going to be enough. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
First it was $5. Tom said that is not enough.
Probably doesn't cover the cost of printing
No,
or anything.
no. But it
Well-
cost her $1,300 to have it printed.
Well, you've got quite a tribe there.
Well, she has 80 pages in this cookbook.
Yeah.
And it has there's some pictures and stories and sketches and a little bit of everything. And the cover apparently is going to have the Wappen. I don't know, are you familiar with the Wappen?
No.
That's the crest of the Bursness.
Is
See,
it?
we have a family crest.
Yeah.
So we're moving right along.
Are you going to have a reunion?
Yes,
Yeah.
in June in
September.
California.
Talk about the reunion a little bit.
Well, let's see. I think Jenny Plender pretty much.
Yeah, she's involved with Ben Vanderburg. I think those two started it. And, so everybody, well, like some of the current Yennises, I don't even know. I never talked to.
No,
I don't even know what they look like.
no, I've got a few like that too.
Yeah.
Well, when you live away for a long period of time, it's hard to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Now, how did they get the addresses of everybody?
Well,
Cobie.
Cobie Bruce,
Oh,
Ben.
well, you know that her oldest son is so interested in all
Well,
those things too.
he made, they had that crest, but he had a big one. So he made a smaller one
Oh,
from that, and that's gonna be the cover.
On the,
so Donnie did this.
Don,
Yes, right.
Well,
They from Cupertino.
Yeah,
They live in
Cupertino, right.
Cupertino.
The Wappen itself is a bird, isn't it?
12:14.
oh.
The
So,
two
and
roosters are fighting.
that's the crest.
That's
Right.
the crest.
But it's not really a rooster, it's more of a bird, isn't it?
Well,
It's some type of bird.
he says it's a rooster, I don't know.
Oh,
Probably looks like it with its feathers.
Well,
and
yeah,
everything.
something like that, but,
And he did the research on this, and then he
yeah.
discovered
See,
that.
he was on Anthony, but in Holland, and they looked it up, and he is very interested in Holland, and the Fries.
Yeah.
He likes to talk it, and, I think he, picks it up quite a bit.
Oh,
Some of them think, oh, it's too much like work, and they're not interested.
No.
But, that's not him.
well, then I'm really curious. Okay, I want to find out then something more about you and that whole family. And I was wondering, Mary Beth says you're going to be 80 already in December.
Yeah,
That's hard for me to
this
believe.
year I'm gonna be 80 yet.
80 years old. No. Well, Uncle Jim, I know, was 80 already.
Yeah, he's 80, he's gonna be 88.
88. So,
When see, he has a birthday December 2nd,
and yours is
16.
16. Okay. Now, you were born in where?
Friesland,
Yeah,
in
but
Tvelinga.
in Tvelinga. Yeah. I've heard a lot about Tvelinga because that's near Pappenhuis.
Well, that's it.
Now, they're separate towns, but close by.
Yeah, it's, well, one runs in the other.
Yeah.
You know,
You could walk from one to the other.
oh, yeah. Then you walk to Snake. That's an hour walk from my house to Snake.
And you used to walk that?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's
Yeah.
about an hour walk.
Did you have bicycles then?
Well, yeah, we had one, and then we had share that with each other. And now we had our picture taken, when they're all home yet. And then we had only one bike. So then the older ones, maybe But anyway, they had the bike, and then they had one on the back seat of what, and they bring him fella. And then he come back and let that one there walk, and he'd come back and pick another load.
Oh,
With
with
that
one
just-
bike.
Yes, yeah.
Now, how many kids were in the family?
Well, there was 13 of us at that
13.
time.
And I'd like to know, can you remember who the oldest one was?
Frank
Frank.
was the oldest.
Now, he's not living anymore.
No, neither one. Neither is Jack, neither is Ed or Klaus, and Tony Schitz.
Now, let's start from the top. Okay, Frank.
Frank was the oldest.
Oh, yeah, and did he get married?
Yeah, he married Tony Schauke.
Oh, Tom Schalke. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So, and then the next one was who?
Jack,
Jack.
Yeah.
And he got married to whom?
to Lucille.
Oh,
Palmer.
Jack and Lucille. Oh, yeah.
There was
Now-
quite a thing that he thought he married the daughter of the boss that he worked for.
Oh. So,
And she had a high school education.
that was something, huh? Now, she was from the Netherlands or she was
No.
from the States?
She was American.
I see. Okay, and then that was Frank and yeah, I remember
I
Tony
think then
Lucille.
Tony Schitz.
Tony Jitska. And whom did she marry? On the wall?
Yeah, America.
Gerka. And they
So-
lived, where did they all live in the Artesia area?
Yeah, well, first she was in Imperial Valley.
Imperial Valley. Well,
That's
maybe
where
I
they started.
Oh, I should go back then. I'd kind of like to know all the members of the family, but I'd also like to know when the immigration started from the Netherlands over
Well,
to this country.
See, Uncle Frank was in Holland, there was no future. So then there was a piece of the paper, a German farmer wanted milkers. So they went to Germany. Frank and Ed, I don't know exactly, Bear would know more, but he didn't forget that thing. And, but then they went to Germany. Well, then somebody heard about California. That was the best thing to be milkers. Well, that's what they know. They know how to milk. So they, and then they went to Imperial Valley.
So that's the first place they came.
That's it.
And just those two came first?
Yeah, I think
Frank
so.
and Ed?
Yeah. And then,
Are you finished?
yeah, I have a napkin, I take a napkin along with it, I'm a master.
So Frank and Ed came, they were the first Brewersmas to come then. Do you remember what year that was at all?
No,
You
I
don't-
don't know.
Was that in the 20s, after the First World War?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And,
But see, Ed didn't go in the service. And neither did Jim. But see, he was a friend of the police yet, through Tony Schalke. So the police didn't report him. He would know that. He was in the town. And he really had to go into service. And when he came back, well, the police had to report him. And since he was a good friend of Tony Schalke, then he didn't know anything.
so was that in Tvellinga then? the
Yeah.
Policing? Oh. So when they came back from Germany, you mean?
Yeah,
Then
then
they
he went to
didn't-
Imperial Valley.
Imperial Valley,
And
all
then
by
the
themselves.
first trip to Holland was when they came. Yeah, that was, yeah, Frank too, because he was here with the family in Holland then.
He was married already in the
He
Netherlands.
was married and they had two, Ben and Agnes.
Mm. So, and they moved over with the family to Imperial Valley.
No, that was when they were single.
I see.
And then he, Tony Schalke, well, he must have, so he wrote Tony Schalke, so she came too. So Tony Schalke always told me, they called me Miss Groeneweg, Greenway. She
Oh.
was green. So she says, I was Miss Greenway.
So,
And Tony Schalke always put that. That was Imperial Valley. They called her Miss Greenway.
so, I never realized Brewers Valley.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was the first.
So,
And
now, did they send word back then to Friesland to make the rest of you come? I
Then
mean, how-
Shelky came.
Shelby came.
Well, and then there was an ad in the paper. There was she was a mail bride, Van Daal was.
Hmm.
So there was a Uncle Bill had a piece in the paper that he wanted a wife. And so then, well, you know, my mom and they were not in favor of that. But she went through with it. So, well,
Did they know her?
well, no, like a mail bride. She didn't
Yeah,
know,
they
no.
didn't know, but she was Dutch.
No, this was Tana
That was done the
Auk.
Auk.
That was mom's
And-
sister.
And then
I
Bill
see.
Vandenberg was the one, and his folks lived in Bisnitz in East Brechten.
Mm.
But yeah, my folks were not in favor of that.
But he had already immigrated to the United States. Uncle
Yeah,
Bill.
oh yeah, he was there, that's what
And he wrote back to the Netherlands for this mail bride?
that was in the paper there.
Oh.
So you knew, really, even though they lived in Friesland, you didn't know the family.
Oh,
huh?
no. Then he wrote that his folks lived in East Brechten. So mom went to East Brechten. See, well, and what's her name? Bill's mother. She was a little bit eccentric. And then, yeah, that one time was, no, that's for later, but then they were gonna come back for a trip. Yeah, Jack, that was a brother from Uncle Bill. And then, she was a little bit, not the rest of mine, she imagined a lot of things. So she seen the train going past her. And that she said, yeah, there was Uncle Jim, by himself, and he had killed my son, she said. But so he wasn't with him, he was sitting alone in it.
Oh.
And,
She expected to see him.
yeah, and, but then Uncle Jim, she only seen Uncle Jim in the tram. Well, she would never see that. But it wasn't too far, it was from here, a little farther than that wall there. But she was, like I said, eccentric. And her husband was blind, just about blind.
Now these were Uncle Bill's parents you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then Bappa did go visit.
Yeah, oh
visit
yeah,
them?
they visit them. Oh, well, I had to know what it was
Yeah,
like,
what
you
the
know,
family
if
was
she was gonna go through with that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, see, I was so much younger. Like Tony Schaukje, well, she didn't forget anything. If you wanna know something, we asked Tony Schaukje.
Now let me get, let's go down the whole list of all your family members first. That was all 13 of them. That was Frank, and then
Jack,
Jack.
and, well, then the twins maybe,
No,
Ed,
the twin, oh, okay,
Ed
those
and
twins.
Klaus,
Ed and Klaus were twins.
they were twins.
That's 4 of them.
And, well, then Tommy Schitz, I think.
That's Chitzka.
And, yeah, how then Jim came, he all by himself. And he was a little squirt, he still is a little squirt.
But we love him.
Yeah, but, and then now we met, he looked up some people when we went to Oregon. Susie, her daughter, was gonna get married. And we got an invitation. But we didn't want to go too, but Uncle Jim didn't want to live along.
Oh.
So we didn't do a very smart thing. We left Uncle Jim's car outside. See, I should have put the car in the garage. We used my car. I was driving. He said, I'll go with you if you will do the driving. I said, yeah, that's no problem. But see, Ruud was checking, you know, if I was going or not. And then he sees Uncle Jim's car there. So, and he was left out. So that didn't go over very big.
Okay.
But see, we should have put in that car in the garage.
You couldn't pull it off.
No.
Okay. Well, there was Uncle Jim, that's 6 now.
Yeah.
There's how many more?
And then, well,
Uncle Herka.
yeah, they came with Uncle Jim.
Oh.
Well, Uncle Jim came back for a trip,
I see.
and then the twins went along with Uncle Jim. And then they stayed with some people in New Jersey. And later on they came to California. And they knew the twins, you know, they had stayed there for what reason, I don't know, the Jim, that they couldn't go farther. So they had to wait a couple days. And they, if I have things right, but, so they stayed with us people. And yeah, that was, Twinhout married her daughter later on, and then he was in California. So the folks came too, finally, in California.
Whose folks now?
This,
Junior?
Twinhout.
Oh,
These are the people in New Jersey?
Yeah, that was, and her folks, and they were, they took care of, they were only 15, 16 years old,
who?
the twins.
When they came to this country?
Yeah. Jim was
So-
traveling with them in the
Okay.
boat,
I see.
but then for some reason, I don't know why, but they had to stay there a couple days. Maybe he had to go through, Ellis Island,
Ellis
maybe,
Island? Oh.
I think.
Okay, now we got Uncle Jim and Hattica, now who else is left?
Well,
besides
and
yourself?
Bernd.
Bernd?
Bernd was here all by himself.
And then after Bernd, and where do you come in?
Well, I came in 29.
No, but I mean, in the line of your family, after Uncle Jim and Uncle Bernd, I want to get all the kids named first.
Well, see, mine, when I came in 29.
Yeah. But I mean, in the order of your family, I've got all the kids
Yeah.
named. Now, I didn't get all,
I'm a little bit younger
then who?
than Bernd,
Then Bernd. And then who comes after you yet?
than the twins,
Which twins? Ruert and,
Ruud and Herk.
Ruert and Herka. Did we leave one out?
Well, probably did.
Let's see.
See, I remember many of those. Now, all of, and then there was, who stayed in the
Well,
Netherlands?
Tanda Geis is in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Mention
yeah,
Tanda
Tante
Geis.
guys, yeah. Well, she got married in Holland,
Oh,
and then, so then they traveled together to California.
Oh, yeah.
and where is Tanda Geis in the lineup?
Well, she is older than Bernd,
But younger than,
and she is younger than Jim.
okay.
Okay. So, all right. Now, you had 13. Now, how many stayed in the Netherlands?
Just one.
Just the one
Tante
sister.
Sjoerdje.
Tante Sjoerdje.
And Uncle Klaas.
And Uncle Klaas, because he couldn't, since he had, well, not mental problem, but he had, he did everything. He went to the city, we had a grocery store, and then he get the supplies. So he did all those things.
So he was basically in the business, so he didn't
Yeah.
go over there too.
He did get the supplies to the store.
Okay, now tell me about that. You lived in Vellingen and your father had a store?
Yeah, we had a grocery store.
A grocery store?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, they said to me that that the Queen helped him.
the Queen?
He needed money to buy that store. We had a big family, and I think Jim was a baby when we moved in the store. So as far as I know that. And then, yeah, we had a bigger house, and my father wasn't well, so then the store was for sale, I suppose, I don't know. But then, now that, I don't know, I have to ask somebody about it. If Tante Sjoerdje still was here,
She would know.
she
Yeah.
would know.
But that's what he did first. He had a store, and then he wasn't well.
No,
Oh, and then
he did a
someone,
bookkeeping, that's all he ever did for
then
the
someone
store.
told me about your mother that she would go around and sell things. Was that you?
Yeah,
or Uncle
sure.
Jim? What did she sell?
Christmas, she went around to sell, Christmas, Santa Claus. They have those nice big cookies you see them here in the Dutch stores, and marzipan. And that was something special, and you made a little more on that stuff than on bread and that stuff.
So it was like a little corner store that they could just get their needs, but then,
Yeah.
then you didn't have the store in later years? and-
Yeah, well, when the boys all left,
Oh. that's
then
true.
we had nobody
To run it?
to run it.
That
So then-
class, what happened to class then? Did he keep
Well,
on?
he couldn't do everything because he was not, he had to be told to do this and do that and go there and things like that. Then Mom sold the store and then we lived in town. Well, the store was in town too.
Yeah, in Twellinga.
In Dwelling, yeah, but,
Yeah. Now, how did was your father living then yet?
yeah.
Yeah, he was living, but he wasn't well.
No,
And how
probably-
did she make a living to keep you all alive?
Yeah, well, said the boys were all gone.
Oh, so they were out
You
of the
know,
house already.
They were to California, to America, and they sent my mother money.
How do you think she felt that all those kids left and went to California?
Well, yeah, then my mom was kind of like Annie. They said, well, I must rather bring my children to the grave than send them to America. No, mother, I don't. But I think they will make it all right there, but they cannot do here, so this is best for them. And I should not hamper that.
So she had a good attitude
Yeah.
about it. I remember my dad saying he came when he was 19 and McCord was 17.
Oh,
He said
yeah.
he could still see his mother standing on the corner with casting a little tear out of her eye.
Yeah.
And here she sent those young boys off, but they were,
Yeah.
let me see, the 15th and the 17th of the crew.
Oh, yeah.
And sent them off on the boat and sent them to America.
It seems to be a way of life
Yeah,
at that time.
That's right. I guess it was accepted, but I think if I had to send all my whole crew
Well,
away,
that's what I said. I would never do it.
no, it would be pretty difficult.
So,
But because they felt that they would have a
but
better
now
life.
too, when I came in the home in Redlands, then I had one, they called me in. There were more, and the manager was there, and the lady that takes care of old people, old age. I was saying old age.
Benefits or?
Yeah, and how to cope with that, I think.
Oh,
And so I had to say, so I said, yeah, we had 13 brothers and sisters. They almost fainted. Oh, they thought that was horrible.
well, you learned how to live, though.
Oh, yeah, I says, and we didn't get steak,
No, you didn't.
but we always had plenty to eat.
What did you have to eat mostly? My father talked about having one pot on the table.
Oh, yeah,
Is that
sure.
what you had?
Pastro.
Pastro?
Pastro.
Pastro?
There is also a stewardship from Leeuwarden sent one, but she sent one for Pastro,
Pastro for your cookbook.
for the cookbook.
Yeah, recipes, some
And
feast
then-
recipes.
And there wasn't any fuss made. You had one plate
Yeah,
and everybody got everything out of
that
that.
was it.
Now, and did you have your clothes passed on from one to the next
Oh,
one
yes,
too?
and then I got my sisters, and I was a tomboy, but she didn't, when I got her clothes, well, they were pretty well wear out. But so I didn't take me very long
So.
Finish.
finish them off.
Okay, and then did you go to school in Twellinga or Tockenhuizen? Where was the
Well,
school?
that was only one school.
One school. Everybody, all the grades were in that one room
Yeah.
or?
No, there were quite a few, I think. So first we went to this Christian school. Well, then my father had trouble with the principal, Mr. de Boer. Yeah, I don't know really what it was, and I'm not gonna mention it either because I might have it wrong.
Okay.
But then we went to the public school,
Hmm,
and that was a little bit farther walking.
I see.
But
Now, how many grades did most of you go through then?
five,
Five
six,
grades.
five.
Five or
I
six.
had no more than five. So
But you learned how to read and write very well compared to what a lot of people
and
do today.
handwork, you
And
know.
handwork.
Oh yeah, Wednesdays was Wednesday afternoon. We had juffrouw, no, Ulkje Land, dat is Joukje's sister. She was not married, and she gave lessons in knitting and in everything. So that's what I get all little things, wasn't big projects, but that I got from Joukje's sister.
Well, did you, what different kinds of things did you have to learn to do? The knitting?
Now, first we got a piece of gauze, kind of, and then we put cross stitches all the way around like this. And we hemmed it first. The color was white, but with red yarn. And then we do any stitches. to learn the stitch for embroidering. And then we put the ABC in it.
Like a sampler.
Yeah, ABC, and finally last we put our initials on there. And now like Tony Schwartz, her stepdaughter, she found her from her aunt. No, that lady was 90 years old when she died. So that's when she got that thing. That must have been, everybody must have made one. And it was yellow, my sister said, but we washed it and it stayed in one piece.
So,
And it's so nice, so she had it framed. And then they have it upstairs and she has it in that hallway going upstairs.
so they still have one left.
They have that from
That's from
Michael
Ansh's.
Claus, yeah.
Ansh's.
It was Ansh's aunt, not
Yeah.
the one as aunt,
No, no.
but it was Ansh's aunt. And so she appreciated that.
That's real nice to have.
Yeah.
Now, were you, what church did you go to when you were there?
The Reformed Church.
And was that in Twellinga?
Well, we had two churches and one minister.
Oh.
One time we had a morning, we had in Tappenhuizen. And then the afternoon was in Twellinga.
And were you baptized in that church?
Yeah.
So,
That's what I was told.
you were told.
You don't remember, huh?
Do you remember going to church there at all?
Oh, yeah, sure.
What do
I
you
still
remember?
remember that bothered me now. One time we sat and there was an old lady sitting next to us and, well, we're having fun with our, whatever we had. And that lady was upset about that. And I often think of that we bothered that lady. She had tears in her eyes. And she couldn't listen to the minister. And I said, what the kids are rude. Yeah.
But they should have a little fun too, don't you think?
Yeah, but you know, we care what Dominic says.
How long did those church services last?
Well, hour and a half at least. I
Did,
think,
did you have catechism?
yeah. Yeah, the catechism.
Did you
But
get
not
that
till
in the
we
week?
were about 16.
Oh, do you have to go there during the week or what?
Yeah, at night. And then there also was library time, then we could check out a book that evening
That was at the church?
at the church.
The church had
And
the
then
library.
yeah, from the young people that took care of it. And then, well, we wanted a day out, so we wanted to go to the library. So, things like that. But, oh, yeah, so, well, I was 17, 19 when I came here. I know church real well.
And did you make profession of faith there
No, I did that here in
in the United
the
States?
United States,
So-
Dominic Cook.
So,
But like I said too, yeah, I don't know why, but now, that's why I'm not looked in favor upon it, but I like the Protestant church, because they preach, how they preached when I left Tappenhuizen in the Reformed Church,
so, you mean Protestant Reformed Church?
Protestant Reformed Church.
Oh, they preach like they did in your
That-
old church?
That in the Reformed Church then. So then I said it once to Bruce. Well, I never called Minister Bruce, but not when I talked to him. But I says, you know, I sometimes think to join the Protestant church. I was a little mean too, I think. Well, he's used to talking to people, I'm sure.
How did they conduct, did you always pray before your meals in your family?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And read the Bible
Yeah,
then too?
the Bible, yeah.
That was a-
Susie, well, what Bible is Susie has? The Dutch Bible, I think Susie's got that one.
That's the one.
So they used to always at home, well, Pa took his along. And then,
You're talking about my dad now?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but Susie has that Bible, and that came from Holland, but that was a Dutch
But I
Bible.
mean with your father and mother at home.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
they-
sure.
Did they do the
And I
same
had
thing?
all the children's name in that.
Oh,
But you nobody was married. Yeah, then Tante Lucille and Uncle Jack were married. And so was Frank and Sjalkje were married.
And so they recorded those names in that Bible?
That, yeah, they're in that,
And, but you had family devotions around the table?
yeah.
at
Oh,
night?
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And they had house music.
Oh,
Once I used to stir, and then they always get, I left, but I should always get a glass of wine,
after
house music.
So, that's the time they brought out the crook, huh?
Yeah.
With the Dominic came?
Yeah, they
And out of
get this look, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And, well, like, in Belfast, they had, once a year, the deacons come and visit the widows.
Hmm.
And they all wanted to go to Mrs., oh, what is the girl's name? She married a Sigismund.
Which Sigismund?
A girl from Berg.
Ben
Ben is married to,
Vanderstel, isn't
Van der Stel girl.
I can't think of.
No, I
the
don't
older
think
ones.
But anyway, they like to go to her
They
house?
they only had one, yeah, because they got the glass of wine, she was not Dutch.
Oh.
So she said they all wanted to go to Mrs., she been a widow for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
That girl was still in school. There was only one girl.
But the mother was a member of First Bellflower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She still is, and she's in a home, and I think she's every bit of 90,
Oh, my.
but she's in a home now. And I seen in a banner that Tina Idema. Tina? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's 90.
Oh, yes, I remember that Idema family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's in a home, but she's been a member from First Christian from Belfast.
Long time.
And now
Wow.
she's in, I knew she was in a home, so I said, we'll have to buy a birthday card. I have to send her she did always ice skating,
Oh,
and then she was in her 80s.
oh, really? Did you learn to ice skate in the old country?
Oh, yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, first when it was a little cold, we had a little canal, but it wasn't very safe because it wasn't clear water. There was einekroas. You ever heard about einekroas? Well, that is all little leaves. And when there is ducks, they like to go in there. But that's kind of a little tiny leaf it is, but there's a whole bunch of it. And then the ducks evidently they call it einekroas. But then when it was hard, and Mother tried it out first. And then we have an old chair, and then she put our skates on, and then behind the chair, pushed ahead of us. And that's how we learned ice skating.
And did that happen quite often in those days? You know, now recently it's only happened a few times.
Yeah, I know.
Was
Well,
it
once in
colder
a
weather
while.
then? Oh,
Once in a while we
once in
had
a
it, and there was a lot of work because it wasn't very long, we were cold.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
oh,
course, you had to get all your clothes on and
Yeah,
off again. huh?
then-
But you could go skating every year?
No,
At least
I don't
once?
think we
Oh,
did every
oh,
year.
oh,
No,
okay.
I'm sure I didn't.
But when you did, I imagine that was quite an
Oh, yeah,
occasion.
it was always, if it lasted long, we had a day off school.
Oh, you
They
did?
closed the school.
Oh, so that was kind
Well,
of for fun.
that was nice.
What else did you do for fun when you were kids?
Well, Taudosha,
Taudonsha.
You know what that is?
Yeah, jump rope.
yeah.
Oh, my.
And
So-
pet ball, yeah. Then they had everybody always caps on the ball, and they have to throw the ball in there,
Into the caps.
yeah, in the caps.
Mm.
Well, that's kind of a different version of Shula.
Yeah, well, but
That
it
same
is,
idea.
yeah.
Now, how old were you when you came here? Did you come by yourself or?
19, yeah, I was by myself,
You didn't come with a brother or sister?
no,
Now, how did you come over here?
boat and train.
Boat and train. Now, what was that boat trip like?
Well, you're young, you accept everything, you don't see no danger or I was fine, there was a young little girl, we took care of her a lot. And there was a German girl, she was there too. Then we took care of that girl quite a bit. The mothers, well, they had parties, I imagine, I don't know.
Did you go first class, second class? What?
No, not first class.
Did you know anyone else on that ship?
No.
When you traveled?
No, I
didn't
don't
know
make
any
new
of-
friends.
No families that you knew
But
of?
I seen a picture, but I think it was B.O.N.
Yeah, I know.
She has on her cross there.
Yeah,
And that is one of,
that's a view on the ship, right?
yeah, I think so. But
Now-
it's way up there, so I really.
How did you get that picture? Because if you
Well-
didn't know anyone on the ship, how was it that you got that picture?
Well, maybe somebody took it and gave me the picture. I don't know. That, like I said, some people forget things. I should wonder what their excuse is. I'm old.
How old were you when you came?
19.
19. Okay, and then you came over here here, and where did you land?
By Tanishitsk.
By the time I mean, when the boat came, did you come to New York City?
Yeah.
And then you had to go from the boat, and you had to, what kind of transportation?
Well,
did you
and
get
then
on
there
the
were
train?
people, what they call that?
Isn't it the Traveler's Aid Society?
Yeah,
Mhm.
travelers aid, and I had that thing on it, and they called me Arka Brusma. And, but there was always somebody by the train that took me and brought me to the other train or whatever it was. They were sure that I was safe.
And you knew no English?
No,
And they were able to speak Dutch?
no, I don't think so. I just did, she seen to it, I got on the right train.
But she saw your name, so this
I
was
had
prearranged?
Yeah. And, but they always said, then they called Arka Brusma.
So you heard your name, and then
And
you
then
went?
I know, yeah, and I was told that people had that same thing on their coat that I had.
Now, how many days did it take to get from New York to California on the train?
About 5 days, I think 4 or 5.
Was that nonstop? Did you just keep traveling, or did you stop
No,
for a
I
day or
think we
two?
stopped. I think we did stop, but
How did you eat? Did they have a dining car on there?
Yeah, we must have gotten any food, so.
And did you have the money all prearranged?
Well, I don't know, well, maybe that was all included
Oh, in your trip?
in my trip.
Now, how was it that you came over? Did you come because Pa had
Yeah,
arranged for it?
yeah.
Oh, so you knew him. Where was he? Where was he
Well,
born?
he was from Doppenhuisen too,
Oh, he's from Toppenhuisen.
but he wasn't born there,
Oh,
but he lived at
where was he born then?
Cowden.
Oh, Cowden. And he moved up to Toppenhuisen, and that's where you met?
Yeah.
And you were
And then
dating
he
him?
went single and he went to California to make money.
And you wrote each other?
Yeah. And then,
So you had a reason for coming here?
yeah. So, and then I came here, what was the day? I used to know it. But anyway, then a couple weeks later, we got married,
So
Yeah.
what year was that?
29.
29. March
Begin of
12th, huh?
29.
March 9.
Very good,
Yeah.
Cobie. That's good.
Yeah. And your
Where
mom
did
and
you
they married,
3 days later.
yeah.
But you didn't go to her wedding, I take it?
No,
Did you have a honeymoon in those days?
no, I don't think we did.
No. You didn't go anyplace, you just went home with him, like in the Bible.
Yeah, work,
Yeah.
Now, did Omatama, was he working for someone?
yeah. No, he had his own cows.
He had his own business
Yeah,
already?
that's when I milked too.
You milked too?
So if he worked for somebody else, I couldn't do that.
Oh,
But I milked for him, yeah.
you did?
Is that when you learned to milk? You didn't know how
Oh, I
to
know
milk?
a little bit,
Oh, did
sure,
you?
from Holland, oh, yeah.
Well, did you have cows in Holland?
We didn't,
No, but you had learned.
but I learned to milk.
That's pretty good.
Didn't you work for a farmer at one time?
Yeah,
For a farmer
yeah,
and
and then
his
in the
wife?
summer I had to milk because then the others were all in the field. Ungeteed, you know what ungeteed is? Well, that's what, and then I helped out.
And was this farm near Toppenhuisen?
Yeah,
and
I
Trelleborg?
right in Trelleborg,
So,
At what age did you go to work for them then?
16.
Oh.
Well, I worked for, Knossen. I was only 13,
Sure. You went to work for the Knosson family, huh?
yeah.
Right. And then what did you do when you worked for them?
I was supposed to take care of the little kids.
Oh, yeah.
But Sam, he was a little devil. You remember Sam Knossen?
Yeah, I know Sam Knosson.
he lived in Bellflower.
He was a little devil.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he kept you hopping.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he thought he knew a little more than we did. So then he had his grandmother's picture there, and it says in memorial. He said, "You wist wel wat dat is?" I says, "Yeah, well, it says it on us."
Oh.
I says, "No, I don't have to tell you nothing."
He was testing you to see.
Oh
if you-
yeah, that's what all he always was doing. He knew a little more than I did.
So you were the babysitter for that family then?
Yeah.
Right. And you
Tina.
lived with
Tina
them?
and Anna.
Mhm.
I see Anna, once in a while Anna comes, when it's special one for Toppenhuisen, she's always at the funeral or whatever it is. She's always there.
But you took care of those children, and then you lived in with the family?
Oh, yeah.
Did they have maids' quarters then? Is that what they had?
Oh, yeah, sure, they had, yeah, but the Sugar lady never did anything, but they had one that did the wash Mondays. So and she came Fridays to put the coffles, the same lady. And then they had a maid, she was there all day. She lived in with them. And I was the little one. So she had 3 people
Take care of
to
the
take care of the,
household? and
But then,
family.
if that maid lived there, did you live there too?
yeah,
So,
And how long did you live there then?
I don't know,
A year or two, or?
a year or 2 or so, I think,
Yeah.
2 years, I think.
Oh, yeah. And wasn't there one time that you worked for a family that it didn't work out too well? How was that?
But that was Knossen.
Oh, that was?
Oh, yeah. Well, Knossen was, well, he always was a little bit different.
Ah.
And then, well, his wife had, well, he was married again though, but then he said, no, I think too much of Anna. He said, it will let you, he was thinking of Anna.
Oh.
But the next one in the basement,
Then he would be hungry.
then he was hungry.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's seen him but he ate.
But then wasn't there some situation or so that it didn't work out and then you walked home or something?
Well, that was that time.
Yeah.
Well, the big girl, the Gretsch farm,
Oh, yes.
she, we supposed to clean the bikes. Well, I was doing it the regular way. But she was stronger, she had them in the water and she turned the wheels and then she dried them off. They're not supposed to get them wet, and then they rust. So he was so mad at her, so she left. I said, well, again, then I went to,
so both of you quit at the same time.
said that he had nobody.
Right.
Okay, now I'd like to get back to when you married Omatama. Where did you get married? What
In
church?
Bellflower, no, not in church, in
Not in church.
Bellflower, by Tante Lucille.
By Tante Lucille in the
Oh,
house?
in their
Yeah,
house?
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, Tante, she had a kind of a porch in front of her house. And she got it all decorated, well, Tante Lucille was doing things right. And she had it all decorated, nobody cooked married us. And, oh, I tell you, it was nice. For me, I had never seen a wedding in
No.
California. So,
And in March, it was nice weather that day?
it ain't catching no.
And you were out on the porch?
Yeah, but it was a closed-in porch.
Oh, I
Oh.
see, okay. And did you have a reception?
Well, just a family,
Inside the house then, I take it?
Do you remember who was all there?
my brothers and sisters.
All the ones that
And I think that's all.
Yeah.
Now, Omatama, did he have any family there at that time?
No, I don't think so. No, they came later, I think.
So, now, let me see, okay.
Yeah, we got away from our family.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I wanted to get a few more things about, well, then you started, he had his business. Where was that located?
On Jackson Street in Heinz.
In Hines?
That isn't Sperman now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, on Jackson, it's Michigan Avenue now, I think. And I think it was Jackson.
And how many cows did Omatama have then? You had to milk by hand? 30 cows.
I think so, yeah.
You helped him?
Then we helped them together. You didn't have a machine yet then?
No. No, that was, and you got up at what hour?
Oh, not too early.
Not too
Because,
early.
no, it was the two of us, you know, it wasn't too big of a job.
Now, what happened when the baby started coming? Did you,
Then the baby was in the barn, in the buggy,
so you took the baby right in the barn? That was
in the hay
Susie?
barn, in the hay barn.
So,
And then later on, I quit.
mhm.
Then well, it got colder and, but yeah, they used to have, I said, how come one that I had a picture of it. The buggy in the barn, in the hay barn, not in the other barn, but in the hay barn. And it was, so we could hear her.
And that hay barn was attached to the milking barn then?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And now, how long did you live on that place?
Not very long. And then we bought a place from Gordon, Mr. Gordon, because he'd start per cow he started, it's for the manure. And the manure was high, so we thought we paid so much, we paid too much for the rent. So then we went to Mr. Gordon, he had a lot of property. So then we bought a place on Bloomfield,
Oh,
and that's where,
where was that on Brookfield?
on Bloomfield, just off of South Street.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
and
how,
on this side of the street got that.
oh, yeah, yeah.
and how long did you live at that place then?
Yeah, that exactly, I don't know.
Don't know, you don't know when you moved to then did you move from, Hines to that, Bloomfield?
That was Artesia.
Yeah, okay, and then when did you?
Well, then we moved to, that was still Norwalk, I think, on Marquardt. We bought that place. Oh, then we rented that, yeah, because we had a chicken hatched, was hatching eggs. So, and it was out the way. And Hoffman moved in there, and we asked them if they could leave that chicken there a while, because they were about ready to hatch. Oh, no, it won't wash your rommel in that hella. Okay, so I took the chicken along, but yeah, that was the end of it, of course.
Yeah, no chickens hatched.
No,
No.
no. Well, all those little things, I know exactly how long and, but,
Yeah.
What was your first house like compared to what you were used to?
well,
now?
that's what I said to Sherry, Joanne's daughter got married. And I said, and they did a lot, there's a little house, but it was cute. And I says, you know what I did? I had to pull all the nails out the floor before I could lay my linoleum. Because you walk on it, those nails work up. And that would ruin the linoleum.
Because that was thin stuff in those days, wasn't
Well,
it?
yeah, I imagine it was.
I remember mopping that kind of stuff, so.
And when the cook told us, you have to have those nails out first. So he helped us, showed us.
Oh,
For, I said, compare that now with the menaces. I said, well, I don't agree with it either that way. But
Well, he was a friend in need anyhow, he helped you, didn't he?
he helped, he showed us, and he said, you have to put them out, take them out. Because you walk on it and then those nails work up, and that ruins your linoleum.
This Dominic Cook, what church was he a minister
The
at?
Reformed.
The Reformed Church.
Yeah.
And did you go, when did you start going to the Christian Reformed Church
Well,
then?
let's see, when was that? Well, see, they met on Flower Street in Bellflower, in a women's club. And then we had our papers changed to the Christian Reformed Church. And, well, ever since we did that, I guess.
And then they built that first Bellflower Church.
Yeah,
From that.
well, that wasn't, they were building a thing, because we had, the dad that ever said, the next door neighbor, he was an elder. So that's we knew the news from it, but then they were building on the church.
what Reformed church was that? Was that the Hines Reform then, that you went to?
Yeah, that was in Hines.
Hines Reform.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's now Emmanuel Church, huh?
Yeah. And that was on Jackson Street. I don't get, it still is Jackson Street, I think.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
it is.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, I want to get on to some of your kids too, because maybe you remember little things about them. You had Susie and Anna, and, let me see.
Jenny.
Joanne, Alice Ruth, Mary Beth,
Yeah,
and Tom.
yeah.
And I can remember the rejoicing when Tom was born.
Oh, yeah, people make such an issue out of that. It was even mentioned in school.
Oh, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Well, 6 girls and then a boy, that was
Yeah.
quite something.
Tom had that, girls had a brother.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, that's all you need.
Oh.
But,
Well, as far as I can see, you had a real fine family. And
yeah, and, well, I said, when you look back, you know, I don't think, man, what a life. And I don't think nothing of it really when we were in it.
Well, you remember that we used to come to your house during the Bible conferences.
Oh, yes.
in this church once, they were talking about hospitality. And I said, well, I remember when I went to the home of Mrs. Bootsma's mother. I said, we had 5 children in our family, they had 6 in theirs. And I said, I never noticed that it even bothered her one bit. All of us came in there, we loved coming, we were always there at home, and you never seemed ruffled one bit. Can you imagine what
You
some women
didn't
would...
see what kind of hair I brushed and vacuumed up Saturday. Then I cleaned up the house.
Yeah, but you always had it so nettious.
Well,
The yard always
there
looked
were
like
too
a
many
park.
people, you couldn't see the dirt.
Oh, I don't believe that at all.
But I says, I still remember that, how much hair I picked up.
All
Well, there's a lot of girls.
Saturday, well, that's all they did, brushing, getting their hair fixed again for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
And what do you remember about Susie when she was little? Do you remember anything about her?
well, yeah, I used as a little girl. And it was new for me, of course, you know, and, well, that was Anna, when we had the earthquake. I was gonna bring Tony Elche home. She's been by me, we were halfway, and then the car started to, says, an earthquake. What Tony Elche was that? Well, I said, I'm baby. Well, she said, let me in the Mruden in Corina. No, I said, and then I seen the fire under the wires across Moonfield. I said, yeah, I wasn't too sure either, but Anna was, well, I think I had Susie in the car with me, but Anna was all by herself in the house, in the crib. So I wanted to go home too.
Of course.
And that I've never, but that was when Anna was little.
Now, what did you do with her then?
Well, then it was over.
Oh, it was over.
Then it was over, you know, it didn't last very long. So then Uncle Dirk came out the barn, white as snow, when the scouts had gotten all excited,
Oh, sure.
and they broke the fences, the stanchions. They now has a steel or whatever they use, but then, now you have more wood. Then we
Then
had
you
wood.
would, and the cows broke that, trying to
Broke,
get
some
out
of them
there.
broke it, and well, that's, you got the others excited too.
Did you see the ground swell then?
No, nothing but the wires.
Oh, the wires. I was at Uncle Jim and Tanahunka's house then, and I can vaguely remember that we all flew out of the, into that backyard. They lived there next to Uncle Ed there.
Yeah.
And the milkers all came out of the barn too, and,
Beat the super.
yeah.
What year was that?
Well, Anna was a baby. She was in a crib. She took in her afternoon nap.
Must have been 31 or so, 1931 or
Yeah.
31 or 2, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
But, no, I think maybe it was a little more, because I have vague memories of it. I was born in 30, so,
Oh,
you know, there are just certain flashes that go through my mind.
Yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Was that your first earthquake experience?
I think so. Yeah.
Sure.
Never had another one.
And then,
Well, and then the story, nobody wanted to sleep in the house.
Mm.
Well, and first we went for a ride and went, oh, stop you on Calgary. And they see it in up in truck. And in the yard. They didn't go in the house. And they were sitting in, and Matama, he always was his, you know, their son, called their son. And then, no, jij het wel mem? Hij het wel vernoemd? No, scoot er nog wat. And no, I says, he always been so mean to his, you know, that upset her.
Sure, but he was kind of poking fun of her a little.
Yeah, that you know, scared her more. I says, he's still that way. He'll never change, I guess. But yeah, all those little things, well, it's quite a while ago, maybe 60 years.
No, it's, that's the earthquake. Now, when then you had Jenny and Joanne. Do you remember anything that happened to any of them, or?
No, only that we had Mrs. Maycock, she was our Baxter. And she was a nice lady, she was German. Her son had lived in, where Dr. Hoeksemer has his office now. That's where the son lived. And he was a contractor. And
She
Mr.
took care of you when
Yeah.
when the baby was born?
Yeah. She stayed 10 days, I think.
a
and
common thing then, wasn't it, to have
Oh,
someone
yeah,
come and stay
so
with
then
you?
she said, now your husband brought back a nice piece of meat again, she said. We just had a nice piece of meat, she said, but that's gone too, she said, and now we have another nice piece of roast. But she wasn't used to having meat every day.
No? Did you stay in the hospital for how long first?
No, but Jenny and Joanna Joanna stayed in the hospital, but Susie and Anna and Jenny, I didn't.
You
They were
had
born at
babies
home.
at home.
Oh, they were born at home? Oh. And then Joanne, you went to the hospital?
Then I went to the hospital, had a private room with a fireplace, and man, I lived in style.
And who was the doctor then?
But Joanna had Hookspun,
Okay, and before that? who did you
Dr.
have?
Ray.
Oh, he was my doctor too. He took out my tonsils.
Oh, yeah, he was a
everybody-
nice man.
Wasn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was.
and then Dr. Hooksma came to town. Huh?
Yeah,
He was the new
so
doctor
then I
in
took
town.
over to Dr. Hookspun.
Oh, yeah.
And he delivered Mary Beth too?
Oh,
Yeah,
I think all of us.
yeah,
all the rest of them.
All the rest of us.
Tom,
So,
yeah, but then he said, he says, I don't know, he says, my wife has only one brother too, but he is not doing too good. So he thought that wasn't very,
you thought you should have another boy?
well, that was nothing special, having that boy, because he gave her that trouble, I guess. Miss Hooksman, he's a dentist now, I think, so he seemed to be all right. But I still remember that. He
Well, your
says,
Tommy didn't give you any trouble.
no,
you can
so
tell the
far,
world
not
that.
that. One time I threw the car keys in the empty lot. So he had all the grandchildren in the empty lot looking for the key for his car. He came home Saturday night at 11:30, and he was not supposed to stay out that long on Saturday night. So I took the key and I threw it in there. Nottingham lives there now, but it was an empty lot.
Oh, and it was full of weeds, I'll bet.
Yeah, sure, but they found him.
That was it.
Yeah, they found the key.
Well, sure, Tom probably paid him each a quarter or something.
Well,
so they
whatever he
looked for the
did,
key.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I said, Monday you get the key back, and you have to work.
Now, how many grandchildren do you have now, do you know?
Well, I get lost and I count them. Now, Anna said yesterday how many she had.
She has 25 grandchildren.
Yeah.
No, 12.
12.
There are 25 in their family.
Yeah,
12 grandchildren.
and I didn't even know how many
So you have,
great grandchildren I had. But those are all great grandchildren.
Right.
We should have taken that from Alexander along.
Oh, that picture, yeah.
He is a specialist.
Oh,
He is, he was adopted.
I see.
And,
But you have 14 great-grandchildren, don't you? Because Charlene has 2.
yeah, oh yeah,
So, and she's expecting her 3rd. So
Yeah.
it'll be-
And how many grandchildren?
well, I don't
Right.
know, now to get
Susie?
married.
Yeah, well, Susie has 1. Anna has 6. That's 7.
Yeah,
And Jenny has 3. That's 10. Joanne has 4. That's 14. Alice Ruth has 4. That's 18. We have 3.
it's 21.
And Tom has 2. So that's
Yeah.
23.
22 grandchildren.
Yeah, but this little Alexander, oh, well, in the first place, I felt so bad about him that the mother didn't want him. And he came in a nice place, couldn't want it any better for him. But, and he is a little, something special, and he is all there. We have picture of, Ken did it, I think, took a picture of, so we call him our Liberace.
Sitting at the piano.
So nice for the piano, and he is a smart aleck. So Suzanne, he learns from him. That's the good little girl. So I said, yeah, she's got a good teacher.
Well, that all brings joy into our lives.
Oh yeah, and then she has one time they were hanging on a floor lamp, and Charlene came in the house and she says, no, no, no. And then he said, Zaza, Zaza, and he ran. So that's what he called Suzanne.
Oh, putting the blame on her.
And he put the blame on her. He wasn't even 2 years old. So he called him Zaza, then it was Zaza's fault.
Now, all your children made profession of faith and they're all in the church.
Yeah.
That's a real blessing.
All of them, yeah, all of them. And then I think about all in the same church, First Bellflower.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They all, and some of them got married in the first church.
and you made profession of faith where? In the Reformed church
In
or?
the Reformed church.
Oh, yeah.
No, let's see now.
Well, was it under Reverend Cook?
Well, it was in the Reformed church, I know that.
Was it right after you were married that you did
Yeah,
that?
I think so. It was Dominic Cook then anyway, and then, well, then we started a Christian school. And then, well, Mrs. Cook said, alle kindertjes van de Christian school gaan niet naar de hemel.
Oh,
Dat we not dat die van de
not to
Christian,
depend on that one.
dat die going to the hemel, hanging naar de hemels. He was German, Jewish, she was Jew.
Oh, really? Mrs.
Yeah,
Cook
Mrs.
was?
Cook was Jew. Sarah was her name, Sarah. En die alle kindertjes van de Christian school gaan die naar de hemel. So,
Now, I remember when the Christian school opened, that was in 1935, because my folks moved there, and I went
Oh,
in
yeah.
first grade there.
Susie went too in the first grade when it opened.
Yeah.
Susie went,
She was your first one to enter there.
and yeah, and they all graduated from it too, from beginning to end.
Now, and now you have a daughter who's married to the president of Trinity College. Did you
Yeah.
ever think of that?
Om de wereld.
Nooit gedacht, mama?
Ja, nooit gedacht, een dag gekregen, wel verwacht.
But no matter what, they're all serving the Lord in some
Yeah.
capacity. And you have a
Yeah.
grandson, Larry. Is he finished with his
Yeah,
training?
he's gonna graduate, and I have a future grandson, he starts seminary.
Now, who is that?
That is Jenny's future son-in-law.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so Larry will graduate from seminary on Saturday.
Yeah,
And Jerry Zanster will start seminary in the fall.
So,
yeah,
So,
and you get to live to see all those things. Isn't it?
yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah, and we can even, well, I thought I wasn't gonna go to the graduation, but now it looks like we have a wedding Friday there.
in
So,
Grand Rapids, we're going to go to Grand
And
Rapids.
then they're gonna go to the, well, they don't know if we need tickets or not. So, and Calvin, they do, when there's so many.
But we think that maybe we
And I
have
was
to-
gonna find out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll be able to get in
And that we, but she think,
to see Larry's graduation.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
that'll be nice. We've not been to a seminary graduation before,
No.
so that would be nice.
Well, I have wonderful memories of you, Tanax. You've always been.
we always had a good time.
We sure did, and you were like my real tanta,
Oh.
and you still are.
Well, no, a while back, we had a lunch in Bufham's. And we were sitting there yet. Was you with me?
I'm not sure what time you're talking
But
about.
then there came Van Dijk. He married one of our school teachers. He died now recently. But I said, hello, Tantaka.
Mm.
And that lady looked at him. I said, yeah, I have a lot of adopted nieces and nephews. I
Yes.
said,
Yeah,
Sure.
I tell you, those are things we don't forget.
no. And I remembered, I think it was with Charlene's shower. And I signed my card, Tandax. Well, they all looked who Tandax was.
Oh, that's your sister?
Yeah, see, that was by a sister of him, I think, from the
Oh,
Charter.
Charda?
Was not his folks, but whatever it was, I don't know. But anyway, and then they all looked, wondered who Tandax was.
Yes. Well, you surely were.
So,
Yeah.
I
You were
says,
mom's, I think you were my mom's best friend.
oh, I don't know, we always,
Yes.
well, we had a good time when we traveled together. We went, yeah, we were even in Canada, I think. Oh, but that were the other ladies.
How many years were you married? How many years were you married when Tama died?
Not quite 30 years, I think.
So you've been a widow a long time.
Yeah, yeah, but Donna, so she was your classmate.
Yeah, Donna Houston.
It's Donna, yeah, Donna Yuskins, and she does alteration for Mary, so I had something, my wedding dress, but I didn't even wear the wedding dress because it was so cold. I says, I can't sit in shorts there with that dress on. So, she said, you could have this on. I said, yeah, I think it fits a little better than that other one I had on. But I mean, I still didn't. She altered it for me. The neck was too low. Since I got so skinny, I had to have a high neck. And so she changed that all. And then I talked to her. And then she said, yeah, you've been a bit a long time. She said, I know, we were still in high school, she said. And I said, yeah, it is a long time, I think.
That was in 1957,
Yeah,
in December, huh?
yeah.
When Pa died.
So, well, the kids were always together, and they were about the same age, you know.
Yeah,
So,
your family and ours, right.
So it always worked fine.
But you really managed well after Amatama died. A lot of women that
Well,
can't seem to
Well,
handle that.
I don't know what to say about that, but they feel sorry for themselves and they think they have to blow that out on other people. Well, that doesn't do you any good, I think. Make feel other people bad, and what can they do about it?
But you just got in the car and you,
Oh, well,
you,
you know,
didn't you move to Chino after Amatama died?
Oh, yeah.
Well, first into Artesia, into
Well,
town.
I was 3 years in the dairy business yet, 3 or 4 years. And then I sold the cows, and then I built a house in Artesia. Well, then everybody moved to Chino.
Did you get the contractors in the whole business? I mean, you.
Yeah,
No.
Mr. Van Ginkel, isn't that
Mr.
who?
Van Ginkel, he was the one that
Built the
built the house. And, but yeah, I trusted him, and he gave me a report of what it cost and all that. It's far from what it's now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
And also what I now I had really, so I said, well, I guess the IRS gets the benefit of it now.
But now your last lovely home, you sold to Salem. You feel good
Yeah.
about that?
I do, but the neighbors didn't.
Didn't they? I think you can feel good about that. I wouldn't worry about the neighbors.
No, that's what I'm saying, they're not mad at you, they're mad at me, he said.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're not mad at you.
I think ultimately you were right.
Oh, I'm in,
Pilgrim?
no, not Pilgrims.
Plymouth. Plymouth.
Plymouth Village.
Mhm.
And I like it real well,
Do you?
yeah. And that's one thing that we have, there is no gossip. Nobody knows me and I don't know anybody. So I don't think that'd be different if I went to in a home. But that's
So-
all that's people.
Yeah.
So you like it
Yeah, and I like it really,
And you have one room or what?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's quite expensive. I could get a bigger room, but that'd be double the cost.
Well,
So then,
you know what Ned says? I talked to her Saturday and she says, Tanta Ox is so content there. She says,
Yeah.
it's a joy to see her there.
Mrs., oh, you're the minister before.
Radius?
Radius, she said, how do you like that in one room? I says, well, that's what I was worried about, how I would be content. You're sitting in one room all day, you know? But I says, well, I have to make the best of it. And well, I was knitting, I had a lot of knitting to do, and still do more. But now I'm stuck, my yarn is, and I can't get it here.
You
Uh-oh.
ran out of yarn, huh?
I ran out of yarn, so.
Well, it seems to me you were always a lady who was content with what you
Well,
had.
you had to make, looking at kind of complain, huh, and cry on somebody's shoulder, but who benefits by that? Nobody. You make a nuisance of yourself.
It's a good philosophy.
So, I says that, the people don't like to hear those stories. You know, that it's not easy, everybody would know that. But you have to make the best of it, that's all. And that first door, they said, well, and fun to say, you know, Ryan's
Yeah.
niece, she said, well, don't you have your name in home? I says, no, I didn't think I ever needed that. I says, no, you don't think that, at least I never did.
No, nobody does, I'm
Didn't
sure.
think that way.
Well, I think that's something that your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren can learn from you.
Well, that's it, and I like Miss McGraw, she has a name in, And I says, oh, I'm gonna go in a cottage? Oh, no, she said, then I can stay where I am now. Don't have to go in a cottage. And she has, she goes in the room then. So,
Is there anything you'd like to say to your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren?
well, that's pretty hard to say, but
Those telephones.
Yeah,
how is
I
that
know.
telephone? Does it work? Well, I'll certainly have one.
Yeah, that's one of those mobile ones. right?
Yeah,
That's pretty nice.
they don't work always so good, I think, she said.
We had unplugged this one, hoping it wouldn't ring, but I guess we weren't successful.
Oh, no.
So is there anything that you'd like to tell the kids?
Yeah, that's really hard to say. What to say to them, and what is the best thing to say?
I know you've always been a lady of faith,
Well,
a deep faith,
I did what I thought was right.
and you trusted
well,
God.
like too, and I said, well, our minister came yet that afternoon. Surely she was met in that morning, and so she stopped at the parsonage. She said, well, don't you think you should visit Mrs. Devries? Because she's leaving again tomorrow. So I hadn't met him yet. But if somebody came, it was Bruce, our second minister. So then he came. So I told him, I said, yeah, we were good neighbors. We had friend, well, Devries, she worked in a bank, so I very seldom seen her. And Saturdays she did the work in the house and he did everything outside. So I never seen her, maybe in 3 or 4 months I seen her once maybe. And she was a lady. She didn't say nothing either. Like, well, no, I must say Nellie didn't come around. She didn't say nothing. She sent.
Well, I wouldn't worry about that part of it at
No,
all.
well, it's through escrow, so we can nothing do about it no more, so.
I think it will go in the long run as a real deed of mercy.
Well, I think so too. I didn't think it was such a thing to be excited about.
Right. Well, you did the right thing, Mom.
Well, what they said is, well, now that Schiertzman, the blow stopped, he's got a son. Well, if they're not there no more, I think that is kind of hard for that son. Now he works a little bit, and she put so much money in the bank for him. That's his money. And he gets so much to spend.
Real Christian mercy, though.
And so I says, well, I said to them too, well, I says, I feel blessed because we have a big family, and we haven't got one that is handicapped.
That's a lot to be thankful for.
So I says, well, then, I don't know what he said. But then, well, then Mr. B said, yeah, we had one. So she must have had something in her family that I didn't, of course I didn't know her family either. So,
Yeah, well, you've had a good life, Mom.
well, yeah, so, and I'm satisfied there. And if they don't like it, well, they can love it.
That's
right.
good too. That's
That's
good
right.
philosophy too.
So, and now I had never seen him. I went there once, but Susie and I was Rupert, but Nellie waved at her, but she didn't come and see him. She was always that way coming over, but she didn't come. But she's,
That's too bad.
well, yeah, it is. We were good neighbors.
Yeah.
And the beast too. Well, she was a lady of few words. And
Well, and now you're in Redlands. Are you still a member of the Chino Church? Or?
no,
You're
my
down to
papers
Redlands,
came
too.
the other day. I was wondering, first was Mrs. Radius came out to me. And, but see, when I came in church, I couldn't see the bulletin because there's such a change.
Oh.
So I put it right away in my purse and I didn't read the bulletin. And that had sit on that my papers had
Been transferred.
come.
Oh, yeah.
And so, so that's how it went, and I didn't know. Then Mrs. Boer came up to me and says, I'm surprised that lady doesn't waste many words. That she told me everything what her daughter used to go to our church in Chino, in Calgary. And I asked about it, and she told me she had moved so-and-so, and did she use almost on that board to sit down. She said, I have an idea that was too much for her. You know, if she wants to talk, she talks, but otherwise she don't.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's really been great reminiscing. Is there something that you'd like to ask her, Mary Beth? Can you think of little things that you'd like
well,
to
there's
ask
so
her?
many things.
I know.
And then,
You know, when
like
my
a
mom's
minister,
gone
we
now.
always say, you shake it out the sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
With
know.
my mother gone now, I think of all little things I would always
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
ask her. And I guess that's always, I'm sure you thought
Well,
about
yeah,
those
that's
things too.
true, sure.
You would have liked to ask your mother certain things and say,
And,
well, how was that then?
Sure. Yeah, it always amazes me when you were talking about your family immigrating to the United States, you know, and how your mother must have felt about that. That always intrigues me, and how that was then. But that was an economic hardship at that time.
Well, yeah, the future was then in Holland at all.
Right.
You
But
all
that's
have it a lot better now.
such a different time from now.
Yeah.
And
And that was the time then people started with one family to take the step, and then the other does. And that's how it went, and they
Sure.
still come.
yeah, they
Not so
still-
much in America, but Canada, they still come.
Well, and they're still coming here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of a land of opportunity.
Yeah, must be. Yeah, that's it the other day, how good America was for all, you know, and I thought, yeah, but all the problems they have here, I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
of course, every country has their
But
problems.
yeah, I
but
imagine, yeah, so,
Sure.
what
Well-
time is it if we're gonna have lunch?
That's right.
it's about
I
that
don't know
time,
where
I
Ty is, but
Oh.
I imagine he's about ready with, finished with this.
Oh,
We had, it's too bad that telephone, but he can turn it off anytime.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, we'll go for lunch pretty quick now.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about Frankfurt. What do you think?
Oh, that'd
Driving
be
out to
fun.
Frankfurt, I think there's a little German restaurant there that we could go to, and it's a nice. The weather
Oh,
is
yeah.
turning good, so we can take a drive
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. That would be nice.
yeah, I wish you went, they would have, but you went. Everything has to be used, so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's had a busy
Yeah.
week. She's had company, and so she wasn't able to come. And Jenny, of course, has her computer business, and she teaches.
Oh,
so.
she's into a computer business?
Right, they have a sort of a service organization at their, in
Oh,
their
yeah.
home. So,
Yeah,
she's quite busy with that.
She does pay it old for people and.
And that's how she was able to do this cookbook too, they have this
I
computer. So she was able
I
to
think
do
we're
it.
about finished, Dad.
Okay, you're finished, then this is the end of the interview of Aka Devries, or Tante Ax Devries. I think it went very well, and I'm sure that you'll remember it with a lot of gratitude that you today were able to do this. Okay.
It was a wonderful time.
I don't consider myself old,
No.
but I says, I reminisce a lot.
Well, you know, but that's one thing I learned from Mom too. I don't know whether they taught people that. But when we were in San Diego, Mom always had the older ladies from the church over.
Oh, yeah.
Always the widows, always those kind of people. She took a liking to them or what.
Well,
But
yeah.
they always came to
Well,
our
they had
house.
the same ideas a little bit.
But
you know.
I don't know, they looked out, she always liked to visit with old people.
Oh, yeah.
They had a real gift. Your family your parents had a real
Yeah.
gift, I think, of hospitality
Yeah, they
too.
did.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing I remember. All the servicemen that your family had
Yeah.
over, and my goodness, it's an amazing thing.
But she just didn't limit it to those young ones.
No,
Oh, I remember
No.
she'd go get old Mrs. Funderlin, that she had a float on her back, and she
Oh.
came into church, and she'd go way over to the other side of San Diego and haul that little old lady over for a day, and then let her
yeah.
stay, and then bring her back home again, and Miss Jakobsson, I can remember those little old ladies that were first members of the church when they was young, and she would get them and bring them back and
Oh,
have the
yeah.
day out for them. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
a nice time.
Well, see, that's nice when you're young, you can do all those
Right.
things.
Well, I don't want to tire you, so we'll
Well,
have to.
we'll have to get lunch, or we may
Yeah.
fall off our
I'm
stockings,
busy,
as they
I
say.
tell you.
Right.
Oh yeah, Mom has been eating us out of house and home.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay, would
Yeah.
you want to use the bathroom
No,
before
I
we
have
go?
no problem.
All set? Okay.
All